to make you feel comfortable so that you can ask those silly questions. You can feel you're safe. You can feel like no, we can have a chat. It's not scary. Rather than, you know, you do this, you go, right, okay, we're going to chat now about sorting out.
What's up, world, and welcome to another episode of the Super Investor Show. My name's John Harry, your host, but you know I'm not the star of the show. On this show, I reveal the true identity behind a super investor. And on this week's show, I have someone who, in this space, has now recently put his face to a project which, when we talk about coming into a project that's already had tremendous success, many people think that's easy. But in my opinion, that's the most riskiest, scariest time to do so. But Carl from Tamadoge is coming onto the show today to really be vulnerable about how his transition's been, and of course his past life, but more importantly, as we discussed offline, that he wants to make sure that throughout this whole conversation, you stay engaged. Now, I've done my research. I've gotten to know this man from afar, and it's not going to be a tough task. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to my guest, Carl.
Hey, how are we doing? How are we doing?
I'm marvelous. And I think for context, we should let everyone know it's a Sunday.
It's Sunday.
10:30 in the UK.
It's 10:30. So yeah, Sunday evenings is NFL usually for me, even though you probably spend all the time on the phone. But that's why obviously you got one there as well.
Ching ching.
I've got work tomorrow, but a couple of sips in the evening. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely fine.
No doubt about it. And with what's going on in crypto right now, I think we both deserve it.
Yeah. I mean, luckily we'll chat about that as well, because there's loads of things to chat about that. Yeah. Should you be worried? Should you not be worried?
I know. Before we begin, and I didn't prepare you for this, Carl, what answer do you give to family and friends who ask you, how's crypto going right now? Because they already know how it's going.
I hate it. So obviously, especially one thing I do like where I live at the moment, I've always tried to be and surround myself with normal people, which I think is one good aspect for the marketing that we do, because we want to, especially at Tamadoge, you want to do Carl Talks Crypto, onboard new people into crypto. And by doing that, you need to understand normal people. Now that sounds really like big-headed. I didn't mean like that, but like, you know, when I taught music for years, no one knows about music. So you need to teach people to understand how they work. Someone turns around and goes, how's crypto going? And they usually say it quite snarky. Ever since last November, quite, you know, oh yeah, how's crypto going? I'm like, it's totally fine. I was like, it's a long-term vision. And I've been telling all of you for the last couple of years for, you know, £10 a month Bitcoin, not financial advice, but £10 a month into Bitcoin seems like a safe way to go while we battle against the investors. My auntie and uncle are always like, "Oh, are you a crypto millionaire yet?" And I'm like, "Well, I've got like 1 million SHIB. Does that count? Am I a crypto millionaire?" And then, yeah, my dad actually lost both his legs between October and May, October last year, May this year, and he went through a week where he was hallucinating. This is when I was still in the crypto space, and it's really funny. He had several visions where he woke up, and this is actually total gospel, right? Yeah. Because the nurses said to me as well, because the nurses, I walked in twice, and they were like, "Do you do this Bitcoin thing?" And I was like, "Why the heck are you telling me this?" When I'm coming to my dad, it's like, your dad has woken up, and this is twice it's happened, talking about Bitcoin, and you have Bitcoin. And I was like, oh my gosh. My dad said when he was in the hallucinating state, he had these visions of crypto and Bitcoin, and I was like, I have no idea where that's come from. But yeah, everyone thinks it's a bit of a farce. I think, especially the older generation. My accountant, for example, has worked with JP Morgan, SC Johnson, etc. Because I was self-employed for years, and even he's very still skeptical. But at the same time, everyone follows the money. So guys who I know in the finance industry, they recognize that people are now buying Bitcoin as investments. People that aren't into that at all think it's all a Ponzi. When we're in the bull run, people are asking me, can I help them make money? When we're in the bear market, it's always a scam. The same people. And I'm like, okay, can we switch it? So when we're in the bear market, you'd be asking me, how do we make opportunities? When we're in the bull market, that's when I say, right, we need to have a look at your portfolio, not the other way around. I think that's one big thing missing in crypto right now.
And I think conversations that we're about to have should hopefully shed light to people who already speak our language, right? Because that's who we're already talking to.
Yeah.
And they'll realize, just like those conversations, and by the way, thanks for sharing what you did with your father and how he's giving away all the dirty laundry.
That's it. Because I was literally, you know, it came up from some of the FUD when I started Tamadoge about it. So I was just like, well, it's out there in the open. I've never been one for the pity story. Like I could have quite easily got this coin doing this by using the whole pity story of my own personal life, which I haven't shared yet, which I won't for maybe a year or two. With my obviously I share loads of things, but as in like there's loads of other things people don't miss.
Of course.
My dad with both his legs, other things in the history as well. And I don't like those pity tactics. It's nice to be transparent, talk about it realness, but you see in the crypto space, man, it's like, oh, this has happened. Please send me one ETH. This has happened. It's like, oh gosh, come on, like that's one thing that's holding back crypto because we still have that scammy sort of Ponzi vibe, you know what I mean? We'll come to that in a second as well.
We will.
A lot of comments to say about that.
Beautiful. Well, as you take another sip, for us to know where we're going, we need to know where we've been. So, Carl, for the people at home, and even myself, who want to get to know you a little bit better, how would you define Carl?
So, Carl, basically, I started in the music industry at 17, and then did a music degree. Really funny when I did Tamadoge as well. A lot of the first AMAs during the pre-sale were like, "Oh, you're just a musician. You've just done this, etc." And it's like, "What's your crypto experience?" And you know, crypto's only been cool for like 4 or 5 years. You know, 7, 8 years if you're an OG like myself. But you know, no one has a lot of experience in this space, and at the moment, you need to move very fast, very quickly. So during COVID, my whole industry got absolutely turned upside down. Ironically, I was supposed to play in Wuhan for 6 shows in January 2000 and was it 2029 or 19 when it first started. So the UK embassy actually called me up and said, "You're not going to Wuhan." And I was like, "Why?" I've still got screenshots now on my phone of me towards the end of January texting friends and family to start being safe and them laughing at me. And then a month and a half later, we go into mental lockdowns. So yeah, that industry got turned upside down. I mean, I got introduced to crypto properly 2013 via Farmville. My cousin wanted to play Farmville, very young, wanted to use Bitcoin for that. I also had someone offer me some Bitcoin in exchange for an instrument. I laughed at him and said no. Looking back, that, you know, it was like 186 or something Bitcoin. I could probably do it right now, but I definitely would have sold that on the first spike. Do you know what I mean? Because I think in this industry, you have to, there's not a lot of learning available. You see all these different trading academies, all different stuff, but there's not a lot of your learning has to come from experience. And during 2016-17, I got on the XRP hype. We obviously saw an ICO boom. So I did Electronium. If anyone knows what Electronium is, they were one of the first companies. They raised like 50 million instead of 10.
And then part of the Digital Pound Foundation.
Yeah, but also it was really funny because, and this is not fact, but this is what I assumed at the time, they never actually intended to do the coin from what I saw afterwards. Yeah, but basically almost like a rug pull, right? Because they raised so much money, it seemed like they turned around and went, we should probably do something now we've got funding. And which is what we also quite lucky. So you saw coins like that, etc. I remember being on cryptopia.nz, if anyone remembers this. I'm still part of the group lawsuit to get my 300,000 Doge back. So cryptopia.nz, New Zealand exchange, claimed he got hacked for 24 million, I think it was, of Ethereum and Bitcoin, even though we had 50 million reserves on the thing. So basically, because Dogecoin was on there, that wasn't hacked. And the New Zealand government, years ago this was, and this got totally swept under the rug, the New Zealand government actually turned around to the exchange and went, you need to give these guys their money back. Essentially, the first sort of tint of regulation. This was years ago. No one shouted about it. The New Zealand government backed these guys having to give the money back. So yeah, for the last 2.5 years, been in this group lawsuit to try and get my Doge back. Who knows if we'll ever get it back or not. But yeah, it's quite exciting to see if I get that. So had that, and then always sort of dabbled in and out. It came to COVID, And obviously, I always remember sitting there at dinner, put some money in at dinner during just before the literally day before lockdown, and 2 days later it doubled. That was when we saw the bottom of Bitcoin, and that got me really excited. So I found a wallet in Binance from a year ago. I found wallets everywhere, which I had from a year ago, and I started doubling down for about the next 18 months. And I mean, every single day I was. Every YouTuber I could find, anything to do with blockchain, anything to do with absolutely anything to do with crypto. I mean, absolutely anything, from like random facts and stuff. And ended up basically, it got to last year, 2021, right? Yeah, last year, 2021, in January, February. And I was applying for Amazon jobs. I was applying for driving jobs, etc. Really funny, because I applied for loads of driving jobs thinking that'd be easy money, because I had no idea when the music industry would start back up again.
Yeah.
And I didn't get those jobs because I had 9 points on my license, because you need 6.
And in the UK, what does that mean? Because of course we have a
so you have you have 12 points on your license. If you hit 12 points, you lose your license. So I had 9 points, and they go away after 5 years. So when it came to August last year, those points all cleared. So now my license is totally clear.
Good.
And they stopped, and I sat there and went, okay, music was my thing. I did, obviously I always was a session player as well. So did a lot of promotion myself. I worked with PR agencies constantly, record labels, negotiation, all these skills, which I ended up bringing to what I do now.
Yeah.
And essentially it was marketing and socials. So a friend of mine gives me a call last May and goes, oh yeah, there's this coin going, because they knew I was quite vocal on my socials about it. Oh, there's coin going, got to check it out, blah, blah, blah. And it was near where I lived, and it was a friend of a friend. And I started looking at it going, and based on all the research I've done myself, I was like, this is terrible. This coin is terrible. You are missing this, and this. So I actually sent him a nice email. Then I sent him a shitty email. Then I got an introduction via a friend and got a meeting. In that 1 hour meeting, ended up getting hired afterwards, being like, oh, wow, we need to get you in. And I was like, wow. Same time as well, at that time around May, June, me and my girlfriend of 9 years ended up breaking up. I always joke and say I sold her for Bitcoin. I wish, because I probably would have got a lot of money for it. And I was, but just before we broke up, I was saying, oh, you've spent all this time on this crypto stuff. And bearing in mind, with the Cryptopia NZ, even we still speak a little bit about 2018. I remember sitting at a desk, and she remembers the exact conversation. She's standing right there, and she goes, "Oh, how's that Doge coin you're doing?" And I went, "Oh yeah, I've got like 300,000. Oh yeah, imagine if it gets to $1." We both remember that conversation exactly word for word, and you think this many years later, insane. So I start working for this new company. I don't want to say the name, to be honest, because I'm not very impressed with it. Hey, yeah, you can do your research, guys. It's fun. And they ended up launching the coin really badly. Copied the Safe Moon contract, launched it terribly, got all their friends rich, made loads of mistakes, crashed. I came in, did a lot of assessment, ended up trying to make them do a V2, rebrand, show the transparency, bring up the socials. I ended up getting put as head of marketing very quickly, because it turns out half of the guys, they didn't know what they were doing. Turns out that was probably, even though I don't like them, it was the biggest opportunity I had, because now I can go into any marketing job. That's how I got this and the last one, without having 5 years experience, because my 5 years experience is there from the music industry, but it's not under marketing. And of course, if you're going for a CV, not having that, people don't listen to you. So after they messed up the coin, etc., I helped the coin do a 7x, which was great. Still got the screenshots of that, which is good. And then, ended up getting sort of done over by them. I got headhunted by another company, turned it down because I wanted to have loyalty to my first one. Ended up getting done over by them. And on the day I got let go, I wasn't even fired. It was like end of probation. I think they had got out of me what they wanted. I literally walked out the meeting, called this guy, and he just started laughing down the phone at me. And he goes, "Welcome to the team." I was like, cool. So that company was Social Blocks. So Social Blocks right now have just released their app. It's a brand new social media platform where you can challenge each other to earn tokens. So like I can challenge you to play FIFA, or I can say to you, bake a cake, or I can say to you, run a mile, all that sort of stuff. Really good platform.
The last two I can definitely do. The first, the last two I can definitely do. The first, let's not do that challenge.
Oh, FIFA, I'm terrible. Man, that and Call of Duty, I just camp and just sit there going, what am I doing? So I end up working for them. I think it was 3 months. We ended up raising 4 million. They'd already started that. Ended up help raise 4 million, get some investors in. It didn't have a massive budget. Even with that 4 million, as you know, when you raise that sort of money, it has places to go. Not someone's pocket, actually has places to go. That's what people don't realize. These companies, all companies, and even though they're coins, not companies, sorry, they actually have, like, the money needs to go somewhere to be used. So it ended up, my contract sort of finished there. I wasn't sort of needed. Kind of was, but kind of wasn't. But full circle, just going back, I'm actually, been chatting to them recently, just because, I do like what they're doing. It's not an endorsement, by the way, guys, at all. It's just that, I've worked with the guy ages, and it'd be nice to see how they are developing. But yeah, I ended up doing that. Then I started my own consultation service called Carl Talks Crypto. So obviously I'm not FCA regulated at all. The consultations were more like lessons, etc. But I ended up working with a lot of NFT projects. Even the first company which did me over came back and asked for a couple of consultations, which was hilarious. Yeah, I said no, obviously. Yeah, did loads of that. And I was really excited to be getting my ideas out, because every single project is different. Every project's different. And ended up getting a bit sick as well of just jumping in and out. Ended up making good friends with Crypto Compare. Turns out I was playing StarCraft for years ago. And my grandmaster in StarCraft was Crypto Compare. And he messaged me out the blue, being like, we hadn't chat for ages. I see you doing the crypto stuff. Do you want to come down to a few events? And they got me out to meet Vitalik last year, which was absolutely incredible. Yeah. Like, honestly, that the meeting, like, it just changed my life. It gave me a bigger impact and a vision of crypto and what there is to come. And meeting someone who's actually doing it, I was like, wow, he's such a humble guy as well. So that will sort of help me with my consultation service to sort of get a bit of traction. And I went in kind of a weird space, to be totally honest, for like a month, mentally, actually, where it was like, oh, am I good enough to be doing this? Imposter syndrome, basically. Yeah. And a friend of mine who I'd met before just turned around and went, what are you doing? Send me your CV. And I was like, oh, the CV is terrible. Sent him the CV, and I kept meaning to redo it, didn't do it. The CV was a few months old, and he went, this CV is amazing. And I was like, what? And he sent it on to somebody. Bearing in mind, I was supposed to actually work for Transact. Transact tried to hire me. That went mental because of the Luna crash. Bit.com, I was going to go work for them. Didn't really seem to work out. So we didn't do that. And I was a little bit like, okay, what do I want to do in this space? Do I continue by myself or what? And CV got sent off to somebody. Somebody else saw that and turned around and went, oh, we need to have a chat with this guy. Wow. And that's how I get involved with Tamadoge. So I get a phone call and it's like, hey, let's have a check out this project. And I've checked out, and I was like, wow, this project seems awesome. I love the idea. And we started chatting through ideas for like a month. We were chatting through ideas, chatting through what they're going to do. And then the project gets launched. And I was like, oh, okay, as in like the pre-sale. And I was like, oh, you haven't asked me to be exactly in yet. While we've been chatting through ideas. So I always sort of knew I'd be in. And the pre-sale went for like a week or 8 days. I think they did like $600,000. And then we finally
what they expected. Was that good? Was that bad?
No, well, I think like for them, I mean, I was amazed that they did that during the bear market already during that first week. Because they already had a lot of plans in place, but they were missing a few key points. That's not a diss to my team, and by the way, they're fucking amazing. But yeah, but so basically we get the dots and I's sorted, and especially seeing as I was going to be the face for the company in that sense. And yeah, when I joined in those first, well, I said 5 days, something like that. When I joined, 400,000 5 days, that was it. And then when I joined, it was like, right, and I actually found a team of people who would listen to my ideas. And even the last 2 companies were great, consultations were great, but not everyone listens to your ideas. They listened to my ideas. They supported me. They worked with me. They even still support my personal channel, even though I have no time to do it. I do occasional bits, but Carl Talks Crypto don't really do it too much. But they supported me. They helped me. They listened to all my ideas. We all have bad ideas sometimes, but like we literally, I found a perfect team. And then it started like snowballing. So after the first 3 weeks, we were at like 2.2 million, and it was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. We wanted to reach, I think it was another million or two more to be able to make sure the project would go well, but maybe not have a lot of money for the future. Within 7.5 weeks, we raised $19 million, which, so we beat the Ethereum ICO in a bear market in 7 weeks. So, of course, when we got to like the 6 weeks, and it was like 15 million in the 6 weeks, we were already sitting there being like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And obviously that actually, because as you know, when you get the snowball, you get the snowball. And we actually got the snowball, which I was really, really, really happy with. And yeah, when that happened, I was just like, I can't believe all the research and my own training for the last few years and my experiences in the last 15 years of dealing with marketers and PR had actually all come to a head to essentially create history.
Yeah.
And then so basically, we are a small core team in Tamadoge. However, we do work with 2 of the biggest PR companies in the world, as well as we do, you know what I mean? So we have our own core team, but it's technically bigger because we are very close to.
You have strategic partnerships.
Yes, that's the word for it. And everything just worked really, really well. And it's absolutely mind-blowing to see, because Tamadoge is, just quickly as well, Tamadoge is a meme coin, but it's not. We're half serious, half meme. So the half meme is the Tamadoge bit, but the half serious is 2 billion supply, Ethereum blockchain, 0% tax, with a play-to-earn game, as well as NFTs and other things coming in the future. So even though it is got the meme vibe, which is really fun, so I can have a lot of fun, there is that actual serious aspect.
Yeah,
which we are, I can't wait to keep exploring that, because that's really important to me, that we are actually, I'm sick of so many coins with a million zeros. So it was important for me to actually be in a project where we actually have half and half.
So much to unpack there, so much to unpack, but it's a beautiful segue. Oh, stop showing off now.
All right, one last one.
Don't mention it. I'm going to give you one more light change by the end of this, okay?
Okay, let me do that one first.
Okay. So, Carl, the beautiful segue from your story, which only encapsulates the last couple of years, which is, I already know what your superpower is. And usually I ask the guests, but I'm not going to do that rubbish. It's transparency. And the reason why is because I want to dig a lot deeper with the time that we have, which is, I'm going to be devil's advocate. And you said that you suffered with imposter syndrome, which every single person watching this now has at some point in their life, whether that's they feel like an imposter being a spouse, being a son or daughter, being a parent, or in our line of work, an investor. So my question to you is, why do you believe that transparency is your superpower?
Mainly because, as I said, there's a lot of things which are very public. In years to come, I'll talk about my story from years ago. Once again, don't use a pity card. I could use that as a superpower probably to raise another 20 million on another project, or go on to The Voice or X Factor and oh my God, I can't believe this has happened and this guy's here. But yeah, so just from that, I took a mantra years ago just to try and be as honest as possible, and don't have skeletons too much in your closet, and don't, if you go about, you get done over all the time, especially in this industry, by being honest. And I even had to learn that last year the hard way a couple of times, as in, you can be transparent, be honest. Obviously, don't show your cards still, and just don't be too transparent or honest. But one thing I find at the moment is there's a lot of people, a lot of coins with no face, no transparency, no honesty. When you buy SHIB, you don't know where it's going. It's more like the person to the right or to the left of you. Obviously, Bitcoin is absolutely fine with that. Ethereum has Vitalik, who's there. BNB has CZ, and Tamadoge has me, which I think is really important. Like this, having something which people can sort of relate to for that trust, because Tamadoge now is never going away. We're going to be here long after I'm dead. After I'm dead, Tamadoge is still going to be here. There'll be somebody else taking over me, and years and years to come. And it's never going to go away. And with that as well, you are building the foundation for something which is long lasting for the years to come. And that's where the transparency comes from. It comes with a lot of risks, as you know, but yeah, I do believe that is why it's and it is quite, because a lot of people can't be transparent. A lot of people can't be that, as you know. A lot of people can't.
Yeah.
Can you ask me quickly what my superpower was so I can say the joke?
Sure. So, Carl, now we move on to the segment where I ask you, what is your superpower?
It's the United States government. Or 1980s. If I could have one superpower, it would be 1980s Russia. Cold War.
Wow. For anyone who's not familiar, that's a history lesson which we don't have time to cover.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's it. If you don't know that, just go look. It's a really funny joke, as in, like, I would love an entire nation to myself. Yeah, let's go for another thing. But yeah, transparency, I think, is a superpower. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So I've taken that away from you, Carl, but I appreciate you allowing me to dig. And I'm going to continue because you mentioned, of course, how the transparency helps with a project. I've been on both sides, right? I've been on sides where I understand that concealing certain parts of your personal life for security is imperative, because it's not just you at the end of the day, right? Yeah. As you know, friends, family around you as well can be impacted. For the people who are in the camp pro-transparency, or for someone who's on the fence, actually, who's thinking, oh yeah, you know what, Carl, you know, you've sold me on this. I see where we're all moving with FTX and why we need to be transparent. What warnings would you give to someone about transparency?
Because just quickly, as a side note as well, I do believe in the beauty of non-transparency with crypto. I do believe in that, by the way. I just think there is a lot of transparency missing. There is definitely a big hole. If you want to be fully doxed, as you've chatted to Johnny Seymour before as well, him going fully doxed was quite a big thing. When you go fully doxed, you know, you are leaving yourself open to people who aren't doing their own research. You may, you know, actually, what's the word? Act upon information which isn't true or FUD. Does that make sense? So the same way.
Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, so when I was in the music industry, for example, I think that's the reason why I did it, because when I was in the music industry, you know, you are laid bare and people will find stuff if they want to, you know, or certain situations can be misconstrued and spun in a different way for a narrative or something like that. And when you come into crypto, people are doing even more research, but it is very similar to the music industry in terms of being in that forefront and being in the spotlight. And, you know, the only thing that's different is I haven't got 20 photographers outside the front of my house, which, by the way, I'd love. Come, I'll make you a cup of tea if you come. So, but yeah, anyone who's doing it, when you go fully doxed, it is quite a big thing. A lot of people don't want to do it. I mean, some of the scariest people that I've met in crypto aren't fully doxed, as we can imagine. Some really scary people, in a good way scary, you know, making contracts and pump and dumps and all that sort of stuff, or they now live on an island. No joke, by the way. But yeah, like, obviously then having your transparency and fully doxed means you are open to stuff like SEC tax, all sorts of stuff. You know, you have to make sure you are doing things properly. And because I am a big advocate for Tamadoge, I absolutely love what we're doing. Full support, and I, you know, have no doubt we're going to do well. I'm a big advocate of crypto in general going forward. Obviously, you know, I have wallets which I have no access to, which aren't mine. At the same time, though, I do have crypto which is very, very public. And when you do go to the transparency side, you just have to make sure that when you're putting a face to something, you have to really do your own research. You know, when I do Carl Talks Crypto, I don't do it very often. When I was doing it all the time, I turned down so many projects, and a lot of influencers don't turn down projects. Some influencers don't even show their face now. They just have the video. I turned down so many. Maybe some I shouldn't have turned down, but I couldn't take the risk on misleading people or selling something that could potentially be harmful to somebody else. Yeah. And I think as well, on top of that, when you are being transparent in that as well, you have to make sure that, and I do struggle with this sometimes as well, you know, not everybody knows exactly what I'm like. So I could do a tweet, I could do a post, I could do a video, and it's the first time you watch that, including this, by the way. First time you watch something, maybe you get a certain idea of what you think that person's like without doing your research. And all of that is, you know, really comes down to, wow, there's so many different aspects to being fully doxed and transparency, which is important. Just quickly as well, is a lot of people that are fully doxed and transparent aren't actually as public. So I go to in real life events all the time. I'm going to the Houses of Parliament on Tuesday. Finally, have a chat there. Oh yeah, I was told dress as if you are in front of a judge. I was like, oh, okay. I come from Slough.
I'm used to that.
Exactly. All right. But yeah, and it is having that. A lot of people that are fully doxed and transparent don't actually be that public, but you can find them and do your research. And
yeah,
it's not a simple task doing it, and that's why with Tamadoge it was such a big thing to put the face to it, because it definitely did help. While at the same time, it did come with a risk. Like I said, I've said before about death threats and all the different FUD, etc., which is hilarious to watch because I know myself, it's totally fine. But could you think if you were trying to be fully doxed and you did get some feedback and you were worried, that's going to really affect your mental health. Mental health is the biggest thing when it comes to fully doxed transparency. You are going to get bullied. You are going to get comments online. You are going to get threats. And you have to be in a mental state to prepare for that because, as you know, mental health is a massive thing in the last 10 years, thanks to social media. And that's where, I've seen a couple of people lose their heads. People go fully doxed, then just disappear because they can't handle it. So that's the biggest thing, is making sure your mental headspace is really in check. I'm
so glad you spoke about that, because that advice there isn't sexy. It's not going to make anyone happy.
No, it's terrible.
And that's the reality, and that's the uncomfortable truths that people don't want to be talking about, which comes up time and time again when I interview, content creators, influencers, public figures in this space, which is negativity is unescapable. It's a minority, and what's true time and time again, and I hear it with you, Carl, even though you haven't said it yet, but I know just from our short conversation already that you do, that when you see this negative comment, we'll leave it like that, negative comment, it does hurt. And it doesn't matter if you've got 100 beautiful ones and one negative. And the reason why that I found out, and Carl, I'd love your input on this, is because as a good person, you see that negative comment, and for a second or a couple of minutes or even days, you actually contemplate, am I that? Am I a scammer? Because if you weren't a good person, if you didn't have a conscience, I'd think you're a psychopath.
Yeah.
You and I have a conscience. We look at this and we say, wait a minute, am I a scammer? Shit.
For a split second, I mean, not so much, I suppose not so much a scammer, but even sometimes, let's say scammer.
A negative label.
Yeah, let's say scammer is a thing, but yeah, you sort of see it, and because you're definitely a bit of an empath, same as myself, based on the conscience. Like, you got a conscience, you're probably a bit empath. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you sort of sit there and think for a split second, why do you feel like this? Why do you feel like this? Right? And I'm like, what have I done to make you feel like this? Because you walk around, you smile to people you don't know, you say hello, you be nice. Do you know what I mean? You try and give, without any explanation back. Yeah. You're like, right, if I've offended you, then how and why? Of course, luckily for the music industry as well, and this industry, you can't please everybody. That was a big thing that I learned. You just can't please everybody, let them do. Also, I love bots. Do you know what? I love bots. Here we go. Let's have a quick look at some FUD right now on a post.
Fascinating. And see, that's the type of transparency on the other end, which will help people understand that there's actually potentially not even a human on the other end of this. And
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
it might be one human that's automated it.
What was it? 60% last year, or 55% of Twitter accounts are bots.
Wow.
Something like that. And that's what Elon Musk was asking for. Honestly, even my own page, which is, quite good. I can't wait till he goes through with the shutting down the bots and see everyone's followers just crash. It's going to be brilliant. As you say your next thing, as you do that, I'm going to find. Honestly,
no problem.
It's hilarious. So, here's one. Sorry, I talked yesterday in Canary Wharf. Isn't Canary Wharf where the IRA were going to bomb? Nice one, mate. Cheers for that. How about this? Here we are. No, That t-shirt is terrible. You're a scammer. Just giving a t-shirt after stealing everyone's money. 1 second, this one as well. Last one. So I've got these hidden as well. No, you're officially rugging Tama. It's a slow rug. It's like, okay, that's not some of the bad ones, but yeah, that's just what I come up with right now while I'm searching through. Yeah. But you see it all the time, and it's you have to deal with it and sort of ignore people. Some of them might be bots, some of them might be haters, and you know, like that's why, like the Tamadoge army, the community that we're building is absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm meeting a lot of amazing people online, and we're trying to build a community where everybody is safe. The main thing for me is in crypto, as you know, a lot of people are getting put off by crypto because, let's say I'm a normal person, I comment on a post saying, "Oh, but why is this?"
But you are a normal person. What?
No,
why do you pull yourself away?
Normal as in less educated in crypto. Sorry, let's do that. Yeah, less educated. So I comment being like, "Oh, why is this like this?" And you'll get 5 comments being like, "You're an idiot. Oh my god, how do you not know this? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." And that person right then is now put off by crypto, or they're not going to research properly, or you know, they might go get scammed. And it's like, okay, at the Tamadoge army, we're trying to build something where if someone asks that sort of question,
it's safe,
and you be nice, and you're like, okay, even an idiot, even I say silly questions. I always say ask silly questions, even on AMAs. I sit there and go, look, I might be blunt sometimes and respond as if like it's a silly question, but please still ask it, because we're still going to respond. Do you know what I mean? And that is missing in crypto right now, and why a lot of people are getting put off, because people need to feel like they can ask these silly questions, because there's not anywhere to really go, and there's so much misinformation. And so, you know, a lot of meme coin communities are very toxic, very toxic. Shib and Doge, love it. It's really fun. But oh my gosh, if you say the wrong thing, you are getting attacked from all different angles, and that's not cool. And Tamadoge army, it doesn't even matter if you hold our coin or not. If you want to come support and just say hello, happy to help. You know, we have, I think it's 12 mods in different languages, totally covering the Telegram and Discord 24/7. You know, we have teams of people manning the socials. A lot of coins don't have that. A lot of people don't realize, like, you know, we spent a lot of money. We spend a lot of money on a lot of mods, different languages, and we haven't even branched out into some of the areas you want to go yet. By the way, that's definitely one reason to check out my coin. There we go. But yeah, we haven't branched out there, but you know, we've got all these guys working all the time, and people don't realize that. And you can go in and ask questions. Now, we actually have a lot of people that got banned from our Telegram and Discord. And I get messages all the time being like, "Oh, I've been banned. Why have I been banned, Carl?" We're actually about to open a form so you can reapply. Like, you can actually reapply. Yeah. So like, you've served your time in Tamadoge jail. Come back. Some people won't, out of you know, but if you want to come back, you can. But 9 times out of 10, people don't realize how they ask questions. I see all the time. So, oh, the price is dropping. You need to do da-da-da-da-da. But it's actually worded really badly, rather than, why is the price dropping? Several reasons why. But if you say it in a rude way, in a public channel where we're trying to get new people in, of course you are going to be banned, because it's not coming across in the right way. And people so many times have said, "What do you say?" "Oh, well, I just asked this question." I literally go, no. What did you say? 9 times out of 10, they won't tell me. Occasionally when they do, I go, "Do you see how that looks when you write that?" If I was to write that and send it to you, Jordan, you'd probably turn around and be like, "Oh, why are you being a dick for?" Do you know what I mean? And people need to realize as well, you know, same as myself, we actually need to work out how we come across, how we word things, and be nice to each other. Like, yes, please tell guys to F off when they're kids, but still, we need to try and educate each other. And that's what's missing. That's what's stopping the next progression and the next leg up to crypto. Yeah. Last year, we had the biggest influx of crypto users in 2021 period, the biggest influx. We had 40% last year enter the crypto space just last year. 40% of total crypto users last year. That is scary as hell. And I guarantee 20% of those now aren't around by the looks of the market, right?
I agree with you, Carl. I agree with you. And number one key takeaway there for me that I'm going to deploy on whatever project I move forward with, even speaking to friends, is how to reintroduce people who have served their time. I love that. That is so powerful. Not because I'm one at second chances. However, it's a system which is scalable, where you can take a human away from having to go back and forth with someone. Say, hey, look, fill out this form, we'll review it, and we'll give you an answer. So
yeah, and also I definitely know you got banned as well, so I'll definitely get you back in. No, but do you know what I mean? Obviously, some people are very genuine, and some people don't know what they've done wrong.
Yeah,
and they get salty, and that's totally fine. And if you're having a conversation like this and you ask a question, I would have the context from you, no matter how you said it, because I know you now. I'd get the context, and I'd be like, okay, that's how. It's not maybe what you meant exactly. Maybe you're being straight.
Yeah,
and people do that on text, maybe a bit too straight. But people need to realize that sort of stuff comes across in a very different way to new users, old users, and that's how FUD gets spread, right? So I think politicians have such an easy job by talking the same point for 10 minutes. But anyway, that's how FUD gets spread.
Yeah.
So, it's that's one thing that we did. We did, I told the team we did go a little bit Nazi, if you want to say it like that, on the whole banning. Then we sort of we got rid of some restrictions.
Because always refining.
Yeah, because honestly, I believe in freedom of speech. Honestly, if you think I'm a dick, say I'm a dick. Like, as in, freedom of speech is good. That's why I like Elon Musk, because, I do hope Trump gets back on Twitter. If that makes sense, because it's better to have these comments public than to hide these comments away, because that's how cults start. That's how secret organizations chart. Like, you know what I mean? That's danger for me. I'd much rather have somebody who is being a bigot or something publicly, and then we try and educate the masses to that's why this is this.
Yeah.
Rather than hide that away. Because for me, yeah, that's that's how several, looking back in, I'm a big history buff, looking back in history, including the Nazis, North Korean movement, all those sort of things, even stuff with the Soviet Union, and even the USA and the UK government. A lot of things get swept under the rug because they get censored, and then they grow without you knowing, and all of a sudden that's a problem. And I think that's why I'm big for freedom of speech is great, but then if you are being a total, then all right, can we just stop you for a second? But at the same time, like everyone's opinion should be, freedom of speech basically should be protected no matter what. Whether you agree with them or not, it should be. The problem is, like we said, we then have to educate the people afterwards to notice when the freedom of speech is not cool, I suppose the word is. And that's the reason why people try and stop freedom of speech, is because they don't have trust in the people afterwards making their own mind up, and they would believe said comment and then act on it, which is a shame. But we're very early, so it's it's a work in progress, and we have seen a lot of scam, like people impersonate me all the time. I'm never going to DM you first, FYI. Never gonna, no one's going to send you one ETH. No one's going to send you anything for free. Never give out your seed phrase, please. We've seen a lot less scams in the last few weeks, luckily, from that, which I'm really, really happy with, because scammers, as you know, are absolutely everywhere, and it really, really annoys me.
Yeah. Carl, just going back to your reference to the Nazis, Jordan Peterson. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson, and he has stated several times that anyone, even you listening right now, you could be a Nazi.
Yep.
Pause. Because under the right circumstances, you would follow the instructions that would not align with your moral compass. And the perfect example, Carl, that I can give you an example of how I could be a Nazi is someone says to me, hey, kill this person here, and if you don't, I will kill your mother. And that, for me, at the end of the day, that sounds horrendous. And not a lot of us want to tap into that dark side of ourselves.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I hate to say it, I would shoot this individual. And that's that ethic, moral judgment game.
Also like context as well, because
of course,
maybe you wouldn't, depending on who it was.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? I think we would because we love our family. Yeah, exactly.
I know what you mean.
But I know what you mean. You have that Nazi, that regime.
Yeah, follow this order.
And that's where we are with the financial system. That's where we are right now with crypto in general. So wow, you just give me a thing. So I've never said this is financial advice except for once. And basically everyone for the FTX thing had warning probably 1-2 days before from a few people shouting. I shouted and said, probably get your money off FTX. I've never done that. I've never done that. I don't think, hopefully touch would never do that again. Now, I also don't feel very proud of that because I also have a big grievance against what I did and what other crypto guys do. Beginning of this year, everyone turns around and goes, all the big influencers, we're going to see a crash, right? All the big influencers say we're going to see a crash. So the people made, in my opinion, made the crash happen. Okay, maybe it didn't, but you know, so let's be loose with this. So FTX, right? Who knows what would have happened? Let's say, for example, nobody started saying get your money off FTX. Let's say not a single person said it. They had 1 billion in reserves, and they had 9 billion worth of assets to pay out. Okay, so even though they're 8 billion in deficit, so nobody can cash all their stuff out, a lot of people probably wouldn't have cashed their stuff out, and maybe they could have got their reserves back. Now, because everybody started saying get your money off the exchange, everybody started doing it, which in turn causes the crash to happen. So right now we have the crypto.com FUD. Get your money off crypto.com. That's coming next. And I'm like, really? Like, these guys sponsor stadiums, did all this. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Bitstamp, for example, Bitstamp boast 90% of their crypto is held offline and all your crypto is insured. Okay, so all right, so we're starting this FUD, and it's all is power to the people, because even banks, we saw with banks in the recession years ago with Northern Rock, whatever it was, everyone said, get your money out. So everyone started to get their money out, but they had no money to cover everybody. But if nobody went and got their money out, everyone could have used their money in the same way for years to come, and maybe the crash wouldn't happen. By the way, maybe it would have. But do you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, like, there is that sort of thing of like, okay, following regimes, following the FUD, are we causing these things to happen by? Do you know what I mean? Like, are we causing these things to happen ourselves? I do think if not a single person said get your money off FTX, not a single person. Bear in mind that's a big alternate reality.
But let's play that game. Yeah, let's play that game.
Okay, it's a big alternate reality. Nobody got the money off FTX. They went, I'll leave it. I don't really care. I'll cash my million Shiba in 2 years' time. Yeah. Is there a possibility that they wouldn't have crashed and that they would have started finding ways to trade their assets up? Yeah. Now, or would they have got their reserves less? Naturally, who knows? I find that very interesting. We do live in that world where, yeah, like, you know, we said there's going to be a crash early beginning of the year, and it happened. And all the influencers that said it are walking around with their little flag going, yeah, I told you it's going to happen. It's like, right, you told it was going to happen. Is that why it happened? As opposed to, yeah, it's very, very, very weird. Obviously, there's no right or wrong answer. Who knows? But it's that, like you said, the power of the people, the power of the regime telling you to do something. Does that then encompass this thing to actually happen?
You know, when we look at market conditions, and then, like you say, we bring it on to a sociology aspect, e.g., everyone can be Nazi. The parallels can definitely be drawn, but we also acknowledge at the crux of it, it's human beings, and as human beings, we have an element of predictability in our behavior. And one thing which I can't miss with you, Carl, and I'm sure people have commented as well, is your appearance, right? We talk about transparency. You have the love heart glasses on. You know, you have the lip piercing. You have the earrings. You are a character, to say the least, without even speaking and getting to know you. One, is that your authentic self? And I think I already know the answer to that. And two, have you had moments, even still have moments, where you think, actually, I need to take the glasses off for this meeting? I'd love to hear that kind of internal dialogue.
Really, really cool. So yeah, basically, I've always liked to be expressive. I grew up in Slough as a rocker, and it was a terrible place to
Talk to
be.
me about Slough.
Yeah, Slough. So west of London, Slough. 2011, 12 had the highest amount of ASBOs in the country. Where it had the biggest trading estate in Europe for years, up until about 20 years ago. So when the big immigrant boom happened with all Poland, Romania, and Albania, a lot of people came to Slough first, illegally on lorries. I actually have a friend who snuck on a lorry and ended up packing Franz Ferdinand CDs in Slough Trading Estate. Ended up doing a tour of him. He was a drummer. I'm like, yeah, it was really, really funny that I was like, wow, you were actually a part of that. And they came over to Slough. So Slough was we're very multi-diverse here, but being a rocker was actually probably not very good. It was basically chav central, shall we say, or you call them roadmen now. And when I started going to London more and did my degree in London, I could be a lot more expressive and actually be who I wanted to be. And even in Slough, I'd always be who I wanted to be, but you get picked on, or you have fights starting. And it's, by the way, Slough is actually lovely now, by the way. So we have a massive influx of, we have great Polish community, great Bangladesh, Pakistan, Indian community. You know what I mean? It actually has become a nice, diverse, multicultural place. Yeah. But back in the day, yeah, it really wasn't. And I've always liked being expressive. You know, especially with like anything I can do, like earrings. I do, you know, get my nails done. Like, oh, are you gay? Like, no, I'm not gay. I'm straight. Well, why do you get that done? It's like, because I quite like it. I quite like the image. I quite like how I look with it. I also think, even though we've got the big piercings and all that sort of stuff, come across as interesting and friendly. As like conversation starters, which is quite nice. 9 times out of 10, I actually forget that I'm wearing what I wear. Yeah. With the glasses, it started off with when I started doing Carl Talks Crypto on the YouTube. I quite liked wearing different glasses. I thought it was like quite a nice little niche. You know what I mean? I mean, that's
oh, we're gonna get a little sneak preview.
Oh yeah, we'll get those on. So, yeah, and it started using that as like a different thing, and it was quite like, you know, especially with marketing, etc. I always saw it as like a good selling point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it actually started working, and I was like, okay, cool. And Carl Talks Crypto is going slow and steady. It's not that I don't really care about that. Tamadoge is my main focus. That for me is where I can I suppose be a bit more of myself in terms of be a bit loose like this, which is quite nice. That's why the team are quite supportive of it. You know, it's a very different thing to me doing Tamadoge. But yeah, I bought the glasses thing, the Tamadoge, and didn't sort of do it on purpose, because I was like, right, you know, I do some videos, like the last video we did, I did half of the segment glasses off. Let's be a serious, Carl. You know what I mean? I'm chatting at the Blockchain Expo, for example. I will have the glasses off. You know, I'll be chatting about blockchain, DeFi regulation on a very serious level, and I will take the glasses off. Does that make sense? And then yesterday, speaking at Metaverse Week, I'm on a panel with a couple of meme coins, and I was like, here we go, glasses on. Do you know what I mean? And makes a statement.
Sorry, Carl, sorry. I think that's lovely.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But it makes a statement as well. But yeah, like people, even some of the Tamadoge army, sometimes like, I'll take the glasses off. And, you know, that's why sometimes talk about serious stuff, I'll take them off, because it's nice to actually be, sorry, all I can see is red. But yeah, some glasses don't work as good as others. But
oh my goodness.
I know.
I want the red ones back, Carl.
Yeah?
I want the red ones back.
I want the red ones back. All
Thank you. That's gonna give me some nightmares tonight. That other one.
All I can see is red. Yeah, you'd be having nightmares of me and those walking up to you. So yeah, and it's you know, because I've always been an educator, especially when I was doing music as well. Always did private lessons. When I did Carl Talks Crypto, I took on several private candidates for lessons for crypto, which was really cool. And you know, when you talk about serious stuff, when we're dealing with millions of dollars. No, I'm not going to sit here and blooming glasses. When I'm sitting dealing with Binance, Crypto.com, different exchanges, no, I'm not sitting there in glasses. You know what I mean? That's where I'm chatting about DeFi and blockchain. Nope, no glasses. That's where the serious side comes in. When we're going to talk about, have a bit of fun, and we're going to take the mick out of FTX, we're going to take the mick out of Vitalik or Elon Musk. That's where we can have the glasses, you know, break it down, make sure it's a fun aspect. One thing I do like to do, I have this all the time, it's so funny. I'll go do speeches, and I'll talk really seriously with a lot of knowledge about what I've learned, you know, on very serious topics. And then I'll chat to somebody in glasses about, being quite funny and simplifying everything. And especially, it doesn't happen now, but originally you'd be like, oh, he doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's just talking in very simple terms. And on purpose, then I'd switch it and go, all right, cool. Let's if you want to talk seriously, mate, let's talk seriously.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's a lot of people like who don't want to talk like that to get into the crypto space. We can have a lot of fun and simplify things. You know what I mean?
And to add on to the end of that, Carl, it's lovely to hear from your point of view that you can do both, because I, for one, I love marketing. I mean, that's my baby, and I think a lot of people as well understand there's so many influencers in all different fields who have that marketing brand, especially those personal brands, whether it's because they wear pink, they wear sunglasses, they always have a chain, the nice watch, whatever it may be, and that's them. And there would you ever see them not do that? Because if they're not, or they're not being true to themselves. But you're actually over here saying you can and probably should do both, right? You should be able to know when to be a little bit more expressive, right? Yeah. And then there's other times where you read the room and understand being expressive, although we're always judging one another, that you're actually disrespecting that room by coming in accordingly. And so I think that, like you just said, as an empath, there's a line where having the sunglasses on is disrespectful in one setting to a degree, and that it's not being untrue to yourself. It's not mutually exclusive. And that's something I pride myself on, Carl. I'm a mixed race. I think I'm funny. And I like to dress well. And at the same time, I do speak articulately. And so that really fucks with people's heads, right? Because hold on a second. You're this mixed race guy who looks like he should be a model, yet you speak at a English literature level of an A star plus. But yet you sometimes have the gold chain out and sometimes you don't have the gold chain out. Which one are you? And it's actually reading the room. How do I feel? And it's okay to have not different identities. Actually, Carl, how do you kind of package?
Yeah. Do you know what? Sometimes it feels like that. It does feel like that sometimes. And that's why I like to do it, especially on some videos, do it in both settings. Having, I did acting for years. I was actually taught by Kate Winslet's acting teacher from Titanic. Yeah. I did that for years as well.
Here in the UK for any of our US audience.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Kate Winslet, Titanic, doing that. Hot dogs go on, all that sort of stuff. And so it was always, especially when into the music industry as well, you have that sort of, I love having a persona when I was on stage. And I do feel that with the glasses as well, sort of have a persona with that. And it's almost like this is sort of like, basically it's a friendly attitude to be able to entice you in, not like a Venus flytrap sort of vibe and do that, but entice you in to make you feel comfortable so that you can ask those silly questions, you can feel you're safe, you can feel like no, we can have a chat, it's not scary, rather than, you do this, you go, right, okay, we're going to chat now about sorting out a deal with Binance. Okay, can we please actually have a serious conversation? You know what I mean? Or, your portfolio's down, or we're going to invest millions of dollars into this XYZ. Like I said, reading the room, by the way, reading the room is so underrated, and so many people don't do that.
Yeah.
And by the way, we all still get it wrong sometimes. And sometimes reading it in the wrong way can be beneficial. But yeah, a lot of people don't read the room at all. Like I said, I'm going to the House of Parliament on Tuesday, and I was told, just don't wear Tamadoge. You can mention it, just don't be too branding. Dress how you are in front of a judge. I'm not going to turn up in shades there if I'm chatting to the Houses of Parliament and Lords in the UK government. But yeah, it's very, very interesting that, that's why, the whole doing your own research, like you said, is very important, because you might just see this clip, guys, right now and think, oh, okay, right. Or you might see the clip before with just no glasses and think, oh, okay. So yeah, is that sort of balance?
It is. And it's acknowledging, as I've come to terms with, which is, if you chase two rabbits, you're not going to catch any. There's going to be people that gravitate towards you and like, hey, I fucks with you. And being your authentic self, which in multiple settings and how we feel day to day, because we're always changing, if you really contemplate that for a second, is that's the type of people that you want to spend your time with. And if you really believe in an abundance mindset, as you do with your army, there's going to be people listening now like, I've never heard of it. I bet no one's there. But as you and I both know, it is a flourish community, and it's okay if you don't come and join the temple. I'll say it's okay.
It's okay not to come join. Oh my gosh, it's so okay not to like what we do. One thing that we are trying to do is, because we've got so many things, like we've got 7 arcade games coming out towards the end of the year. We've got a big AR augmented reality game coming out. I think it's a year and a half. More NFT collections, more games coming out. The whole mantra for us was, if you don't like one thing, maybe you'll like something else, while at the same time you can always be involved with us with a constant of a good community and safety, a bit of fun. But yeah, at the same time, you know, people don't like Polygon. That's fine. People don't like Ethereum. Totally cool. I'm going to respect your decision. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Like, as long as we're not dicks to each other, I think is the main thing. Is put it bluntly, right?
Yeah. And on that blunt point, Carl, I'm gonna have to move us on, because I said to you it's a Sunday. I
just saw the timing. Oh my gosh!
Are you okay? We're gonna wrap it up with the weakness question. Give all that value as much as you can, and
so I'm definitely coming back on in the next couple of months, aren't I? And now we've got more to chat about.
We're gonna have to. If anything, Carl, if you want to keep it respectful, we'll tease people and say, you know what, come back for part 2, and we'll talk about your weakness. How does that sound?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
We're doing that for the first time. I'll have to tell our producer. So, producer, this is a part 1.
Wow. Okay. So I love. So Jordan, this is where your marketing thing just literally came on board, right? You're like, right, this is a marketing genius.
These ideas just come to me. Carl, I have to grab onto them and hold them before they go. But you know, with all due respect as well, you know, being completely mindful that you've taken time away from your family, you know, to join me, even though we've gone 2 for 2 scheduling this.
Yeah, honestly. So everyone at home, by the way. We have made this happen. Like, we have made this happen. We are both very busy people, and we have made this happen.
We sure have. And with that being said, I think your last light's just gone out as well, Carl. It's a sign.
I've got to charge those and get a new video done soon.
Carl, I will give the floor to you to say the last final thing. What would you love everyone to remember if it's one thing?
Is just be careful who you fully trust. Never give trust too much out, while at the same time do give people the benefit of the doubt. Never give out your seed phrase, please. Try and beware of scammers. The other light just went out. Tamadoge is here for life. We really want to get you all involved with that as well. Do check out Car Talks Crypto, because do you know what? I'll probably do a bigger segment on the next one, and we'll probably also do some no shades on the next segment too. Do half and half serious.
Something to look forward to for sure. Look, Carl, it's been a personal pleasure.
Honestly,
and I know at least one person in the audience has gained value. And if you haven't, well, you just have to come back next week. And of course, tune into part 2 when we schedule that in. It's going to be in 2023. So, Carl.
Exactly. Yeah. 2023. Yeah. Somewhere.
Carl, I will see you next year on the show, but we're now connected, and I can't wait to speak to you offline. Thank you for your time.
Honestly, thank you so much for having me. Absolute pleasure, Jordan.
Likewise.